So, today we're diving into a new kind of arms race. It's one that's happening silently, right on all of our screens. We're talking about the battle against AI-powered fraud. And in this fight, the front line, well, it isn't a firewall. It's you. It's your behavior.
And let's just start with a number that should absolutely stop you in your tracks. $25 million. That is how much a single finance worker was tricked into wiring to fraudsters just this year. And get this wasn't done with some simple misspelled phishing email. Oh no.
The employee who worked at a massive global firm was invited to a video call. And on that call were people who looked and sounded exactly like his CFO and other senior executives. But the whole thing, it was a complete fabrication, a deepfake. This wasn't just a scam, it was a high-tech digital heist. And honestly, it's a chilling preview of a whole new era of fraud.
That heist is really just a flashing red light for a much bigger problem. You see, the tools to create these perfect fakes, they're getting cheaper, faster, and way more accessible. And that's leading to an explosion in these AI-powered attacks. We're entering a world where you literally can't trust your own eyes and ears online.
And just think about how fast this is moving. In North America, identity fraud attempts using deepfakes went up by 3,000% in just 1 year. This isn't some slow, gradual trend we're watching. This is a rocket ship.
And the barrier to entry here is just completely collapsed. A scammer only needs what? 3 seconds of your voice, which they can easily scrape from a social media video or a company webinar to create a clone. A clone that's good enough to fool your family, maybe even your bank. This stuff is everywhere now.
So, okay, how does this actually translate to the bottom line for businesses? Well, as you can probably imagine, these incredibly sophisticated attacks are creating some staggering financial losses.
The scale of the damage is it's enormous. Globally, companies are losing almost 8% of their revenue to fraud. And here in the US, that number is even higher. It's nearly 10%. Think about that. That is a massive drain on resources that should be going into growth and innovation.
So, where's all this money going? Well, for businesses in the US, the single biggest culprit is something called account takeover. It makes up almost a third of all fraud-related losses. And that's exactly what it sounds like. A criminal gets into a real user's account and just takes it over.
And this right here reveals a huge weakness in how we've been doing things. Our old defenses are failing. Passwords, PINs, even a lot of multi-factor authentication, they only check who you are at the digital front door. They have no idea if an imposter has already snatched the keys and is just walking right in.
This is where the whole security model has to change. If we can't just rely on what someone knows, like a password, or even what they are, like a fingerprint, we need a totally new way to verify who someone is. And the answer, it turns out, lies in how you act.
And this is a fundamental pivot in thinking about security. We're moving away from that single check at the door to continuous verification inside the room. So it's not about a one-time login anymore. It's about constantly confirming that the person using the account is the real, legitimate owner, second by second.
The technology that makes all this possible is called behavioral biometrics. The amazing part is that it works completely silently in the background, analyzing thousands of tiny, subconscious habits to build a unique digital signature for every single user. And it does all this without you having to do anything extra. No friction at all.
So how in the world does this actually work? Well, your unique digital signature is built from all the little ways you interact with your devices every single day.
Okay, first up, let's talk about your typing. The system couldn't care less about the words you're writing. What it's really analyzing is the unique rhythm and cadence of your keystrokes. These tiny details, like how long you hold down a key, the pause between letters, even which shift key you prefer to use, all of this creates a typing signature that's as unique as a fingerprint. A bot, for example, types with perfect robotic timing. A human fraudster, maybe they're a little nervous, will type differently than you do. The system spots these little differences instantly.
Next up, your mouse. And again, the system doesn't care what you click on. It cares about the journey your cursor takes to get across the screen.
You know, this is a deeply personal thing. Real human mouse movements are always slightly curved. They're filled with these tiny subconscious hesitations. But a fraudster who's using a script, they often move the cursor in these unnaturally straight, perfect lines. To the system, that is a dead giveaway.
Now, on your phone, this gets even more sophisticated. It's not just about your tabs and your swipes. It's about the very way you hold and handle your phone.
The system actually learns your habits. It knows if you're right or left-handed, it knows the pressure you usually apply when you tap, it even knows the typical angle you hold your phone at. So if that behavior suddenly changes in the middle of a session, boom, it raises an immediate red flag.
Now, you might be thinking, this tech is just a clever idea, but it's actually becoming a legal necessity really fast. And why is that? It's because the rules around who is responsible for fraud are changing dramatically.
You see, for a long time, if you were tricked into sending money to a scammer, that financial loss was basically your problem. The burden fell almost entirely on you, the consumer.
But that is changing big time. New regulations are shifting the liability. Now, the bank, the payment app, or the online platform where the scam started can be held financially responsible if they don't have the right protections in place.
These huge new EU rules, like PSD3 and PSR, are a perfect example of this shift. They're making it mandatory for payment providers to refund victims of impersonation scams. And what that does is it forces companies to adopt these advanced tools, like behavioral biometrics, not just as a nice-to-have feature, but as a core requirement of doing business.
So this leaves us with a really critical question. In an age where AI can perfectly mimic a voice or a face, what does trust even mean anymore? It's no longer about what you see or what you hear. In our digital world, real trust is now about what can be continuously and invisibly verified. It's all about behavior.